Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us here this morning. I am so excited to see you here. Welcome to our virtual March Open House here at Carleton University. My name is Caitlin Anderson. I'm the National Recruitment Officer here at Carleton, and I'm super excited to be here to answer your questions, help you find your next step, and make your next decision here at Carleton. This session this morning is all about health sciences. Hopefully you're in the right space. If you do have questions throughout the morning, feel free to use the chat, pop them in there. We'll be answering some of those questions live and some of the questions in the chat. We'll also have a few representatives in a health sciences booth after our presentation. So if you have questions and they don't get answered in this space, know that there's still opportunity to ask those. Before I get us started and launch into our presentation and chat here this morning, I'd just like to make space at the start of all of our presentation to acknowledge the location of Carleton University. Although some of us are not currently on campus and are working from elsewhere around the city, Carleton is located in Ottawa, Canada, and on traditional and unceded Algonquin territory. Recognizing the land on which we get to learn and grow together is super important to us here at Carleton. Recognizing the privilege that it is to be able to learn from each other and to grow on this beautiful land, and our campus is absolutely stunning. I encourage you to continue to inform yourself about the history and the ongoing developments of Indigenous relations at Carleton by going to carleton.ca/Indigenous or popping into our Indigenous Access booth here today so you can ask some more questions. But I'm not going to talk anymore because I'm not the person that you want to hear from today. I'm super excited to hand things over to our folks here from Health Sciences to chat some more about the program. So first, I'll hand things over to Dr. Martin Holsick, the professor and chair of the Department of Health Sciences, who's got some great information to share with you today. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Caitlin. Good morning, everybody. We are very excited to be with you this morning and to be able to share a few things about our program. So I'll make a very brief, probably maybe 8 to 10 minutes, just an overview of the program in case you're not familiar with the program. But I'll assume, because you are joining us this morning, that you have at least a bit of a knowledge. And what you would like to spend most of the time on would be to have an opportunity for you to ask questions of us. And I have with me today 3 wonderful guests. I have Sandra, who is our administrative advisor and undergraduate administrative advisor and undergraduate administrator. So she is the person all the students deal with in the undergraduate program, and she knows in and out of the program. And we have 2 first-year students, Emma and Andrew, and I asked them to join us this morning because they can give you their hands-on and lived experience, what it is to be in a program like, especially during the pandemic. So with that, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we can answer them as we go along. So I'll just share my screen quickly. And I hope these things work. It's always funny how technology can or cannot work in our favor. There. So health sciences, and what it would look like for you if you were to join us next year. So what does your future here at Carleton hold? And I put this sort of a collage of pictures just to demonstrate how in the last 2 years, it was demonstrated to us through the pandemic and how health research and health science are intricately linked to our lives, everyday lives. And even perhaps job opportunities, which we never considered as being part of the health sciences, are actually intricately linked. And if you can consider here, it can go from being able to being a virologist or molecular biologist to development of the drugs, to frontline people who are screeners or nurses or healthcare practitioners or physicians, to public health officials who have to make appropriate, informed decisions how to protect our communities and societies, to communications. All of that is intricately linked to health and health research and health sciences. And so this is what we do in our department. We are a multidisciplinary department, and we focus on both health research and health education. And this is at the intersect of these different disciplines, as I mentioned. We do health science research, and that is sort of the underpinning part of all our teaching as well. We have a very diverse faculty, which is researching various aspects of health. And you can think of it from a single cell all the way to the health communities and society. So we do biomedical research, environmental research, and social determinant of health research. And we bring that into the classroom throughout the program and through each class. We work with researchers and clinicians locally, nationally, and internationally. And this allows our students to be engaged in a leading edge research. And the most important thing is to allow people to experience a hands-on type approach, right? And so this is an opportunity to bring you, the students, into the research through both the classes, so the theoretical knowledge, but also a hands-on. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the hands-on opportunities in a few slides. Our program is not very large, and so we pride ourselves in knowing the students and engaging with the students on an individual basis. And we are not just award-winning researchers, but also award-winning educators. And we bring that passion and knowledge into the classroom. There are 5 concentrations in health sciences: biomedical science, which focuses primarily, as the name say, on the biomedical, so genetic, molecular biology, biochemistry. Health throughout the lifespan, that looks at how health changes from basically conception or even preconception all the way to death. Environment and health, it looks at the intersect of environment and health and how they influence each other. Global health, clearly very important. We've seen it over the last several years, that the health is not isolated to a small community. It's on a much global scale. And disability and chronic illness, which looks specifically on how chronic illness impacts quality of life and what can be done about that. Each program is concentration is a little bit different, and you can find a snapshot of the program like this for each of the 5 concentrations. So this one is for biomedical sciences, and just I'm using it here to illustrate 2 things. One is that as you progress through from year 1 all the way to year 4, you have initially courses and lectures from other departments. We call these sister units, biology, physics, math, to provide you with this sort of fundamental knowledge. You can think of knowledge as a pyramid, right? So we are building the fundamental knowledge and some courses through health sciences to allow you to learn about your peers in your cohort and meet them and start building these interactions with them. But as you progress through the 4 years of the program, there's more and more of the health sciences specific courses and less of the other ones. And ultimately, it culminates in the 4th year in some sort of capstone a project, which can be either thesis or a research essay or a field placement. The most important person, as I said initially, is Sandra right here. And if you have any questions about the program, please feel free to reach out directly to us, to Sandra or to myself. And you can find the intricacies of the program and the progression from year to year. Also on our website, you will find the snapshot for each concentration to see the differences and similarities between these concentrations. So we are kind of hopefully coming towards the end of this terrible pandemic. Certainly in Ontario, the restrictions are easing starting next Monday, so March 21st, after the March break. There'll be no more mask mandates. We are dropping the vaccine mandates. How is it going to be when you come in September if you are to join us? Of course, nobody has a crystal ball, but we think it's going to be a return back to normal. So traditional lectures, in-person workshops and labs will be most of the course offerings will be done in this modality. However, we learned through the pandemic, we can take advantage also of asynchronous learning and some of the remote learning. And so there'll be a combination of the synchronous and asynchronous modalities, which gives us increased flexibility. To be able to help the students, especially students who may have a hard time coming, for example, in September, to be able to still engage with the course content and be able to attend classes. Carleton started new learning management system, which we've been now using for last year, and it's working quite well, and it supports both the synchronous and asynchronous in-person and remote course delivery. And we also use our own students to help us to be involved in student design. This is called a SAP program, Students as Partners, and it helps to create a sort of a curriculum which is sort of student-centric and it reflects some of the needs and requirements from the student perspective. We are in a brand new health sciences building. I still say this, although the building has been now been in the building for 5 years, but it's new and we are very excited about it. And if any of you are coming on Monday for tours, you'll be able to see this space in person. We have a state-of-the-art research laboratories and teaching laboratories. which allow collaborative work, teamwork. We also have collaborative classrooms, so you can work in cohorts, you can work alone, depending on how the courses are set up. The nice thing is that this allows us to bring real-world scenarios to the classroom, both in theoretical level, but also in practical level. And I just listed here some of the examples we've been using, again, taking advantage of the pandemic and bringing it to the classroom. And so one can use real data analysis, for example, in epidemiology or health statistics. We can use clinical diagnostic of disease in classes like molecular pathology or microbiology, development of the vaccine, especially the mRNA technology, would be in again in the upper year classes, but also in the classroom as well as in the labs. For example, you might have heard about the RT-PCR. These are techniques which we can bring into the labs, and students are actually practicing them in second year microbiology or third year immunology classes. We can talk about antibody testing for COVID, again in the context of immunology in our third year immunology labs, but also not just being focused on pandemic all the time, about use of new technologies, for example, for cancer treatment, again in the context of immune response, epidemiological studies, as I mentioned, health statistics studies. So all of this is being brought into the classroom and into the workshops and into the laboratories. We also have hands-on research, which is available to students from the first year. It's a thesis research, directed study research, or summer internships from the first year all the way throughout. Our students are trained in biosafety and laboratory safety. We provide PPE, and we are still doing physical separation and physical distancing because the virus is still with us, but we are able in our space to allow for this to happen. And so not only this allows students to sort of come back to the classroom and do what they're supposed to do, but also to learn about proper protection and sort of application of the theoretical parts into the sort of real world scenario. I will leave it here. This is just, as I said, a brief sort of overview of the program. If you have any questions, please start posting them into the chat and we can start answering them. You can find more information about us on our website. You can also reach us through our Twitter feed or through our just by email directly contacting Sandra or myself or our members of the laboratory. So with this, I will say thank you, and I'm looking forward to see perhaps some of you tomorrow. We'll be doing the tours in person. I'll stop sharing, and I'll pass the virtual mic to Sandra and ask you to moderate the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Welcome, everyone. So glad to be here and help you to make some decisions on coming to Carleton. I'm going to go through the questions and then ask them towards the student. And if I see some that I can answer or Martin can answer, I'll put it towards them. I see the first question is there. It's asking, is the health science education 3 years long? The honors degree is, 4 years long, is 4 years long. There is a general program or what we call 15 credits, which would be 3 years, but you cannot come into that program. You'd have to come in through the honors program, which is a 4 years program. The next question I see, is there a co-op option? Currently, we do not have co-op, but instead of co-op, we do have the placement, which is your capstone course that you would do at the end for your 4th year. And it is the full year from basically fall to the end of winter. I see I have a question actually that I want to give to Emma. Emma, why did you accept your offer at Health Sciences at Carleton?
It's a great question. So I personally applied to 4 different universities, all in different regions of Canada. And Carleton really applied to me and like kind of was calling my name. Ottawa itself is a beautiful city. It's located in a very nice region. The campus is beautiful. It's close to downtown, but not directly in downtown. So I loved the placement of it. As well, I really like how small Carleton's health science program is. There's not a whole lot of students, and not that it's a bad thing. I find it a really good thing where it's really interactive. You get to talk with a lot of your professors. You get to meet a lot of the people who are in the same programs as you. Also, like other benefits such as in fourth year doing the placements and things like that. Not a lot of other universities have programs like that.
Yeah, I believe that we currently have the only program with the placement in place. So it's a really, really great opportunity to experience, because you get to actually work in a setting that you might be interested in. How has the transition, I'll ask you, Andrew, how has the transition been for you to go from high school to university?
Well, it was, it was a bit of a leap, like it always is, but there is a lot of support available. Online, peer study sessions. Everybody in the program is pretty friendly. The professors are really helpful. The TAs too. So, there was a gap, but I felt there was enough support to kind of overcome that gap pretty well.
Yeah, Carleton, we're very lucky. Carleton has a lot of resources on campus. And right now they are switched over to online. So there's like the student learning assistance program. There's TAs. There's people that will help you, tutors, services. There's quite a variety of support services on campus. What did you find most challenging, Emma, when you first came to Carleton?
I personally found getting into a proper routine sort of difficult. I found finding a group of consistent friends, like obviously, the first like frosh weeks and stuff, you're meeting a bunch of new people, but I found it really important to find a good group of support people that could help you through that. I also found it a bit challenging at first to find people in my program where, as Dr. Hollick has explained, like a lot of first year courses are very general. It's like, your general chemistry, biology. So there's a lot of like various students who are in that. And I found it really critical to find people in your program who have similar interests to you. I found that really helped.
And then, I mean, the difficulties of being with COVID has not been the greatest, but I mean, we do have the society. And how does that, because you, Emma, are part of this society now, even in your first year, how have you found that has helped you get through those parts of meeting your own cohort?
I have found that the society is like the best thing that's ever happened to me. I thought it was just great. It's a super great opportunity, and I really encourage everyone to be a part of it, whether you want to be sort of a representative or a director or even just being a general member. We do have Instagram and Facebook, which I will put into the chat in a second, as well as just I'm a first year representative. So next year, obviously those positions will be opening, and you all can apply for that position. I encourage you to, starting in September. There'll be more information about that once again posted on the Instagram later on. But yeah, I found that the society, we put on events such as like skating on the canal. There's other academic events such as meeting your profs and research nights. And I found it really, really beneficial. And I really encourage everyone in health sciences to at least participate in one way or another.
Yeah, I found through my experience of working with the Health Science Society that the connections that you guys all make together is like a certain form of networking, which is always beneficial, because you never know, you might be even in a chat where, you're in a class or an assignment is due and someone's going to say, hey, did you catch this? Or did you understand that? Because I wasn't sure. And so it's a really good connection for everyone to be a part of. And I personally, as the program advisor, really, really try to enforce that people sign into the Instagram, the chat, Facebook, whatever social media that you're most comfortable in, because it's nice having that ability to reach somebody to talk to them.
I would also like to plug in very quickly. The Health Sciences Society also has a mentorship program, which I participated in this year, and I found that also very beneficial as far as integrating yourself into into Carleton in general. It's basically where a first year gets matched with an upper year who has similar interests to you, and you basically you can just talk about life, you can talk about academic, more base things. And I found that particular program inside of the society, and there's other programs as well, but that one in particular I found is really beneficial, where you have someone who was in your footsteps not even 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's definitely. Andrew, how have you found the working online for you? Like going from, well, I don't know, you probably, when you left high school, you're probably online, and now you continued to some extent being online.
A little bit of a transition, yeah. So a little bit ready for it, but yeah, I think the way the platforms were set up through Carleton with Brightspace, like they did a good job ensuring it's well organized. There's a lot of support, and especially at the start, there was a lot of flexibility in terms of just figuring it out, getting your classes started. But after that, it was kind of onto yourself to kind of get into a routine, keep track of your due dates. But I felt like overall it was well supported.
Well, I find too is that you are also doing exams online as well in midterms. So how was that doing that kind of experience for you?
It was good. Yeah, most of them are. A lot of the exams are open for a flexible time period, which is nice. So even if something comes up in your schedule or you have other classes, like there is a lot of flexibility. And those that are not flexible, you have you're well warned in advance that they're coming, and the teachers are very good talking about what's going to be on it, what format, question, that sort of stuff, the expectations. So they did a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've seen it myself on how the students have, and definitely I think it's a good learning tool as well for anything that you might have to do as well. I think. Um, Emma, what is your favorite thing about the program so far?
So far, I have loved how much the program puts focus on things such as the social determinants of health. And I really like how holistic, like, our view of health is in this program, where I find a lot of other programs are very science-based and oriented, which is obviously important. And we do in general have a very, like, we get that experience, but I think it's also really beneficial that we also get the experience of talking about social factors that influence health and how those even relate to more of the biological aspects and statistics in health.
And how about you, Andrew? What has been your favorite part of the program so far?
Well, I really appreciated that despite the online, you know there's most of the big classes that we have first year online, but because this program, like Emma mentioned, is a smaller program, they were able to have like in-person tutorials first semester, and then this semester we actually have a lecture in the health science building that's in person, which is really awesome because then you just get to meet people from your program, and we're all sharing the same classes. So collaboration, that makes it a lot easier. So I appreciated that the size of the program gave us that opportunity. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I have to mention, yeah, we did have some online and not online, in-person events, but we had to reduce them based on the restrictions by the government. But we did actually have a couple classes that were in person, as well as a lab that was in person with a limited supply of spots. So, but I think students overall have been really enjoying the aspect of getting to meet their fellow students in the program. How does your average day? I'll start with you, Andrew, because I've been going to. How's your average day look like for you? What is your average day in first year?
Most time I'll get up around 8, go for breakfast at the caf. Let me tell you, like if you're considering Carleton, like Carleton, very good food compared to other schools. Like the food is very good, good variety, good quality, and good hours on the caf. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays at least, we go to class in the health science lecture theater, and then lunch, a lot of studying. Second class in philosophy, that's online. It's ethics, bioethics, and then studying. Maybe go for a swim at the pool. Carleton has an awesome athletics complex, couple gyms, I think 2 rinks, 50-meter pool, field house. I did intramurals at the start of the semester. That was a nice way to meet people also. Yeah, and then study. It's just trying to keep that balance, but there's a lot of opportunities to do that.
Yeah, because I think it's really, really, really important to keep that balance. As you know, like I said before, there's the language, not language. There's the Student Learning Center, and they have all kinds of little workshops that you can do on how to balance your life here at Carleton with studies and with your personal life and your activities. If you have a part-time job, what it might be. So, and I have to say, our campus is one of the more beautiful campuses, I think, in Canada. Because we are a little bit further down from downtown, we have Dow's Lake, where I don't know if you've had that chance to get to experience the canal this winter, Andrew, because you're in residence.
The canals captured my heart. I did hundreds of kilometers. It was a good time.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, and this year it was excellent ice, I heard. How about you, Emma? What does your average day look like?
Well, same classes as Andrew that he's mentioned. I also try and get up at about 8 o'clock, go for breakfast with some friends at the caf. After our in-person class, a few friends that I actually met through the class, which is really nice in person, me and some of my health science friends will go get lunch at either like Tim Hortons or at the like cafeteria in the oh my goodness, the University Center. That's what it's called.
Yeah. I was searching to try to remember the name. You just go there, you forget what the name is.
Because that's really nice where our cafeteria right now, due to COVID, outside members can't come in, although those places you get to spend your dining dollars or just your money. So we get to go there together. And then I do lots of studying typically. And then typically at night, I either go to the gym with some friends. As Andrew mentioned, there's a really nice gym here. And yeah, I try and keep my nights for myself, have a bit of me time and relax a bit. But during the day, it's definitely just mostly schoolwork. Or I like to go out and explore the city a lot because I'm not from here. So getting to explore is really fun.
It's been an interesting year, definitely for Ottawa. But yes, I found, like you said, I was in residence 30 years ago. So definitely the cafeteria in residence has been a long-standing awesome meal. So it's good to know that none of that's changed. So I'm just wondering if there's any more questions. Can you guys think of anything that you think that students might, want that first bit of information? I have to say, the one thing I want to say, no matter what you choose, when you come time to register for your courses, register for the full year. Do not just register for fall term, register for the full year. It's really, really essential that you get your spots and everything because things fill up, and first year students have priority over those first year classes. So it's really important to stick on your timetable, time slot. How about you, Andrew? Any additional tidbits to give out to everyone out there? Or does anyone out there, I see there's some people out there, so do you have any additional questions before we start wrapping these up?
I was trying to answer most of these in the chat, but maybe just to elaborate a little bit on the placement option, because it's hard to write it all out. So we have this year and also next year, so the placements are in typically in our regional or local institutions. And under non-COVID options, we would also be running international placements. So we are hoping to come back to it. So if you were to start in 2022, there is a good chance that the international placements will be available, which will be very exciting. This year we are offering 30-odd placements, and they vary. So they vary in community-based research, which will be, for example, with some local charity organizations. We have placements in the Carleton Sports Clinic, for example, in local hospitals, so Children's Hospital and the Ottawa Regional Hospital. And even within the hospital, these placements can vary. So, for example, there are 2 placements in pathology at the Children's Hospital, but also in different research units embedded throughout the hospital and the affiliated research institutes. We have placements in the Ottawa Police Force, Public Health, Ottawa Health Agency, what is it called?
Physiotherapy at the clinic.
Physiotherapy at the clinic as well, PHAC in Stats Canada, right? So being in the capital, we have the luxury and privilege to be connected with a number of organizations which are sort of unique to Ottawa, and so the placements are in those. In order to get into the placement, the prerequisite is to have completed Health 390X. So there are 4 courses, which are basically just 4 different sessions of the same course, which is a seminar course, and to have a CGPA of 9. After that, it's a competitive process where the students have to be matched to the placement. So they have to write a brief statement. And then our placement coordinator, Sonia Gulari, who coordinates and organizes all these placements, she will then try to match your choice of the placement to the placement itself. And they're obviously quite popular. So the GPA is important. It's not everything, but it's important. So hopefully, Greg and others, that sort of answers your question about the placements. Just scrolling to see if there is anything which was not answered properly.
Anything you're thinking of, Emma, that you would think would be helpful?
In general, I think what would be really, like, what I wish someone told me was to look at your syllabus. Like, your syllabus is your lifeline. I did not realize that because in high school, I didn't have any syllabus really. It's always just your teacher telling you, okay, remember, hand this in. But oh my goodness, your syllabus helps you so much. It helps you prepare in advance. Like Andrew mentioned, you know when your midterms are going to be, so you can prepare well in advance. If there are conflicts, the profs are very good at dealing with that. But yeah, look at your syllabus. It makes a difference.
And I too want to say that if you have any questions before registration or during registration, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm your go-to person. Basically, a lot of students have been asking me, how much money do I spend on books? Again, when we have biology and chemistry, you guys will have to go in and buy like goggles and lab coats and all these kind of wonderful things that people don't anticipate because, you know, you're coming from high school and going to university. So I'm thinking it's around $500 per term, but what do you guys think? Is it around that per term? Or
I found I only spent money really at the start of the year. Like, I got all my books in advance. A lot of courses you can either get secondhand, which I found really helped. I got all of my books secondhand. And if not, there's a lot of online copies as well that are significantly cheaper than getting the actual thing. But as far as buying lab coats and goggles, like, you get to use that throughout the entire year. So you don't have to like rebuy those. So it's kind of like a one-time purchase, which is nice.
Which you buy through the students' science store, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe also comment on, sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
I was just gonna say same thing, kind of lab coats one time, and then you get your textbooks, and I mean, I only had to buy them for a semester this year, so that was it's 500 is probably realistic.
Yeah, that's what I've calculated with some students. It's about that.
So maybe just to add to it, the bookstore also sells reused or used,
Yes.
gently used textbooks, so you don't have to always buy a new one. And sort of a point from so I teach also, so I can kind of comment on what Emma said about the syllabus. The nice thing about the syllabus, among other things, is that it tells you if you need a textbook or not, and so then you can plan ahead. One more thing, perhaps we didn't really say because we are just sort of describing the program in general, is that many of these questions, if you were to come in September, there is orientation.
Yes.
And for all the new incoming students, and many of these questions will be again addressed, and you will be given contacts for people, will be reminded who the people are to go to.
Yeah, that's something that you pick it for the science department. Like, there's different orientations for engineering, arts, science, and such. So make sure you do that, because the session we do have for health sciences is mandatory, but there's all kinds of other activities and information during orientation week. Also, prior to coming to Carleton, there's also mini workshops prior to when classes start for chemistry, if you're a little nervous about that, or math. So these are a bunch of emails that you'll get as time goes on when you're getting ready to come to Carleton.
There was a question about student employment on campus, and I saw Caitlin answered it, but I happen to know, Andrew, that you are also working as a lifeguard at the pool. So maybe you can just comment briefly if you wanted to on that.
I had a friend that was working there, and they just said to look at the athletics website, and I think they post kind of like for the summer session, then for the fall, and then for the winter. So they kind of have three hiring sessions a year. I just submitted my qualifications, and then they were interested in hiring, so they got back to me. There was a pool orientation, and and then that was oh, can you guys hear me?
It's low. I had to turn up your volume.
While he fixes that, I happen to also know that some of our second-year students work in athletics as coaches and trainers. So there is a variety of different options for employment on campus.
Yeah. And even in residence, there's jobs within residence. You can work at abstentions. You might even work at Tim Hortons. You might work at the front desk. Like there's quite a few jobs all around campus for students that are interested in applying to those things.
COVID actually kind of helped with that because there's also the CU Screen people that you can work for as well. So that's a job.
We should explain that a little bit. We have ambassadors at every entrance of our buildings that make sure that students that have gone through the process for COVID that are assigned to Carleton University.
Yeah, and that like living on campus, I guess I could attribute to that. It's not a big process. It's like I think every 24 hours you have to do like it's called a self-assessment where you basically go through the symptoms. Like, do you have a runny nose? Do you have a cough? Blah, blah, blah. And then if you don't, then you're good. And you just show the person, like they're just sitting at a desk. You show them, it's on your phone. It's done through your phone. It's on a QR code. And you just show them, yep, I'm good. And then you get to enter. And then if not, it's actually really helpful where if you're sick on a day, you can contact like your lab coordinators, for example, if you can't make it to a lab, and they're very understanding of that. And as Dr. Hollick kind of mentioned, where there's now that flexibility where they can give you the data, for example, so then you can still complete your lab report or things like that.
Andrew, do you want to give it a try?
Okay, now it's even worse. So you need to fix that. While you work on that, there was a question from Greg about the Trinity Medical School. So that's we don't have a formal affiliation with them. We were in discussion over last year, and at the end there was no sort of formalized process, but they are a Caribbean-based accredited medical school. And so they often, just like many other medical schools, they come on campus and they hold sessions. I know both through the Success Center and through different societies, there is lots of opportunities to engage in sort of pre-med training. I think Emma sort of pointed this earlier, is that we don't try to pretend that we will get you into the medical school because it's not realistic. What we would like to do is to prepare you for a wide variety of careers in health sciences. If it is a medical school, fantastic, and we'll help you get there, and there is lots of opportunities for that. But we also like to show our students that there are other things outside of the medical school. And the careers in health, especially if you consider all the different possibilities. So there was a question also in the chat. I tried to answer a bit about where do our students go. And so it varies. It can be from professional schools to directly into the workforce to graduate school. One thing which is becoming more obvious is as our societies are changing, digital health is a huge thing. And typically, you would not get into digital health if you're considering a traditional path, because you have to combine maybe AI or computer science. And so Carleton has a very strong computer science programs, and there are lots of opportunities to also have classes from these other programs. And if you come and visit Sandra and I in your booth, we can tell a little bit more about, we can have minor in something else, or you can combine a concentration. So we really try to tailor it to your personal needs and help you craft your career going forward. Andrew, you're back. Say something. Nope, you're not. That's too bad, because I'm sure you would have something very important to say. All right, I'm looking at time. We still have a few minutes. If there are any last-minute questions, please post them. We'll be happy to answer them. If you prefer, you can also come and see us. We'll be until 11 o'clock in the booth. And as I said earlier, you can always email us directly. Lots of information is available on our website, but we are always very happy to answer questions. So don't hesitate.
Yeah, and I'll do a Zoom call if you feel like you'd like to talk individually about the program or what that means for you. Just send me an email and I can book a meeting with you on Zoom.
Very good. Maybe the final word would be that obviously to make a decision how you are going to spend the next 4 years of your life is super important. We think we have created a program which is very good, it's well regarded, and is tailored to individual students' needs. We really try to provide you with the support both inside and outside of the classroom. And so, make a decision which is best for you. If it means coming to our program, we'll be super happy to see you and learn about you and with you. If there's something else, obviously that's part of the life. We've never capped our program except for last year, and because of the increased interest, we are starting to cap intake into our program. This is not to say to put any pressure on you, just sort of to outline the reality as is. We are running 2 tours tomorrow, in-person tours of our health sciences space. One is at 11:30, and I believe there are still some spots available for that tour. The second one is at 12:30, but that may be already fully booked.
On Monday.
Sorry, on Monday, yes. Yeah, COVID makes you blur time. It's crazy. Anyhow, yes, on Monday. Thank you. It's on Monday. And what we'll do in the tour, we'll just basically walk through our teaching and research space. So you'll be able to see a little bit more about sort of actually what it is we are talking about. And also you'll have an opportunity to ask questions and meet some of our graduate students. We didn't talk, of course, about the graduate students, but they are also a very important part of our program. So with that, I think it will be safe to say, Caitlin, I see you posted some extra details. Wonderful. Thank you very much for that. Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you very much for spending time with us this morning. And I hope to see some of you perhaps on Monday and some of you in September. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.